Drum roll, please. It's Tim Walz. Wow. Literally hot off the presses moments ago, the announcement has come in. Harris Walz 2024.
How do you feel?
I feel excited. I'm pumped. I mean, we can get into the intricacies, but I think that this is definitely the vibes choice. The vibes and the internet are very Team Walz. And so we're just going to keep the good times rolling.
Let's get into it. Why are people celebrating? Who is Tim Walz?
Great question. Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota, a military veteran, a former public school teacher, and a cable news warrior.
Truly.
Perhaps a comms pro who has actually a really long list of accomplishments in the state of Minnesota. He was also in Congress. He's done a lot of stuff.
Oh, I truly did not realize he was in Congress.
He represented like a pretty purple red tinted area. And so he knows how to run in like tough battleground states and districts. He knows how to message to voters that are in the middle. And he also has this long list of accomplishments that have like really gotten him a lot of street cred with progressives and people who identify further to the left, which we like have to get into because that's what caught my attention immediately.
Let's start with that. So as governor of Minnesota, he has done a lot of things. I'm going to kind of list some of them really quickly for everyone. He has ensured tuition-free meals at participating state universities, which is huge. He's enshrined abortion rights into state law. He's banned conversion therapy. He has provided protections for gender-affirming healthcare. And last May, he signed a bill that expanded voting rights in Minnesota for an estimated 55,000 formerly incarcerated residents.
Period.
There's more.
There's more.
He has strong labor protections. He has legalized the marijuana, cannabis, and he has expanded paid leave and sick leave, which is huge for working families.
Yeah. And let's be clear, like all of that was in just his last term as governor in a very short amount of time, got a tremendous amount of things done. Minnesota doesn't catch the headlines all that often. So people might think of it as being a really blue state, but it's actually quite purple. We just flipped the state Senate from a Republican controlled to Democratic controlled in 2022 for the first time in a long time. You actually have to be able to work with people across party lines in order to get stuff done and also to be able to message to those same voters in order to win. And those are all things that he's bringing now to the ticket in like such a critical moment.
Can you talk about that a little bit more? Like, what is the appeal from an electoral standpoint for Tim Walz? Obviously, progressives, I'm super excited to see, what he brings to the table, but why would the vice president choose him looking at like the electoral stakes?
Yeah, I think that it's her decision to lean into what has been working for her campaign so far, which is a ton of energy and momentum because she has like a shorter runway than most presidential candidates have had in recent history. She knows that she needs to capitalize on this massive wave of enthusiasm that has arisen around her candidacy. And Walz does seem like the one who's better positioned electorally to deliver that. Very clearly, the alternative pick that was in close consideration was Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania, whom I am a big fan of. But there was already definite liabilities there because some of the things that he had, like his most controversial takes on, were the things that are dividing the Democratic Party the most, like Israel and Gaza. And so by picking him, she would have been injecting that further into the conversation as like every time at every event that was going to be a question that he was asked, right? Of like there was this article back from when he was 20, there's like controversial things that he said while he was governor. And so again, Walz does not have the same baggage, so to speak, and we can keep the conversation laser focused on the issues that are going to be most advantageous for Vice President Harris, including reproductive rights, including public education. He's a former school teacher, as we said, and gun legislation as well. They passed extreme risk protection orders in Minnesota under his tenure. Again, we're refocusing all of these things back onto the topics that Vice President Harris wants to make this election about.
He also has a backing of a progressive warrior, Senator Bernie Sanders, and UAW President Sean Fain. He said that he either wanted Bashir, you're out, or Walz. So that's a huge, having labor on your side is huge.
I guess I would just add, I think that For people who are cynical or tired of the political games, this is a break from that. Because if you just looked at this like a math equation, or this was the West Wing or House of Cards, you would have picked Josh Shapiro. You would have picked Governor Shapiro because he's the governor of Pennsylvania. He's very popular, and like that had the right math, pulls in the right electorate in this theoretical way. If you look at people again like robots or like an equation, this feels more like a heart pick of like, this is what we believe in, and we're going to lean into it because it's a better fit between her and him. People, I really hope, will see that and let it break through the cynicism that they're not trying to like hack you like a computer program. They're trying to like build this ticket of what are the values and changes that we want to see in the country, and how can we build the strongest team to accomplish those.
Yeah. Something we talked about the other week was with President Biden stepping aside from this campaign. Sammy said this, Sammy Sage, the bench of Democrats, it just felt like it fully opened up. And I would wager that the majority of Democrats did not know much about Tim Walz 6 weeks ago. Cut to your point, he's now the vice presidential candidate. And that is an amazing thing to see. An amazing thing to see. And something else that I don't know if it's going to happen, but will be an amazing thing to see. If anyone has watched, to your point, him being a cable news warrior, Tim Walz does not come to play. He brings the receipts. He has a POV. He's a straight shooter. He speaks like you and I do. He's not using like legalese or all of these big political phrases and yada, yada, yada. He is getting you. And you know who he's going to get? JD Vance.
100%. He's also the originator of the weird branding for Vance and Trump. He is the first one that went on TV to be like, these dudes are fucking weird. They're just weird.
So you've gotten some attention this week for calling Trump and Vance and Republicans in general weird. Why do you think weird is a more effective attack line against Trump than what Democrats have been done previously, which is argue that he's an existential threat to democracy?
Yeah, and it's an observation on this. And I, being a school teacher, I see a lot of things. But my point on this is people kept talking about, look, Donald Trump is going to put women's lives at risk. That's 100% true. Donald Trump is potentially going to end constitutional liberties that we have, end voting. I do believe all those things are a real possibility, but it gives him way too much power. Listen to the guy. He's talking about Hannibal Lecter and shocking sharks and just whatever crazy thing pops into his mind. And I thought we just give him way too much credit. And I think one of the things is when you just ratchet down some of the the scariness or whatever and just name it what it is.
And it's stuck because it's true.
So let that be an indicator of his comms mastermind. And I hope that we get to see more of that as he like evolves the messaging over time. We know that the internet can't sit on one thing any too long or for very long at all. But if that's any indication of what we have coming, like, we're in for a treat. Pop the popcorn and buckle up.
Buckle up.